Hey, what is up, everybody? Let me just make sure that everything is on. Okay. Yay! We're on live. Okay. So, hi, everybody. This is April with astrolada.com, and I'm doing a weekly horoscope for you guys for May 17th through the 24th of 2019. And I'm going to do also what I always do, celebrity coffee talk. So what that is I use a celebrity or like public figure's natal chart as an example so that we can see how astrology works. You know, we see things that are going on with that person, and we can take a look at their astrological transits perhaps to see why certain things are going on with them. So, good morning or afternoon, wherever you guys are at. Yeah, it is late. I am really feeling this Scorpio moon. Scorpio energy can be very much night owl energy, and where I'm at, it is like the middle of the night. And you see, I've got my Scorpio sweater on. I've got my Scorpio coffee cup. So I'm really digging this energy. I am a natal Scorpio rising. Um, so I'm really in my element, my night owl element. And also, Venus is conjunct Uranus right now. So I'm going to talk about actually both of those in a little more detail in a second. But Uranus's energy is very electric. You know, it's very electric, electrifying, very much like it rules electricity. So therefore, it can zap us. That's how we feel. We feel zapped with like a little bit of a nervous energy at times with Uranus, or we just feel so full of energy and life that maybe we have like so many ideas buzzing. We have a lot of creative energy. It depends on what Uranus is hitting, but right now Venus and Uranus are so close together, and Venus does rule, you know, love and creativity and a lot of things that we enjoy. And if you're ruled by Venus, especially like if you have a sun, rising, or moon sign in Libra or Taurus, you may be feeling a little restless with Venus and Uranus conjunct right now. I'm a Scorpio rising, so the full moon has me like buzzing with energy. The full moon is on my natal Uranus, and then I'm ruled by Venus because I'm also a Taurus sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. And this Venus and Uranus conjunction is right on my Mars. So I am wired right now. It's just really crazy. So I'm here to talk with you guys. Let's chat. Let's see how everybody else is feeling and talk about the energy of this week, especially the Scorpio full moon. I'm going to give everybody a forecast for that based on your sun, rising, or moon sign. And then, yes, the celebrity stuff. So I am going to talk about you guys that have watched me for a long time know that I am a really big fan of YouTube. I watch YouTube more than I watch television or any like, you know, shows or movies and stuff. YouTube is like it for me. And I follow the beauty community on YouTube, makeup artists, and you know, those people like that. So I'm sure some of you have seen the story in the news about the beauty YouTubers that are feuding with each other, James Charles and Tati Westbrook. So I'm going to take a look at Tati's chart and see like why are certain things going on with her, what lessons is she learning right now based on this little feud that she actually, it's not little, it's like a really big deal because it's been on even like CNN and other publications that don't usually cover YouTuber stuff. It's been like really big. So we're gonna look at Tati's chart after we go through the horoscope for the week. So let's dive in. First of all, as I mentioned, there's a full moon in Scorpio on the 18th, and I'm going to dissect the full moon for you guys. I'm going to show you guys a chart because, you know, because this is a full moon in two of my signs, I really feel the energy and feel like very strongly what the lessons or messages are of the full moon. So I'm going to break it down a little bit because it's like a native energy for me, and it's like being really brought to the forefront. So I feel like I have a lot to say about it for all of us. Um, and yeah, so I'm going to show you guys a chart. But we have that happening on the 18th. We have Venus and Uranus conjunct, like I said, which, you know, the Venus and Uranus conjunction is happening like super early in the day. If you're on like the western part of the world, if you're on the eastern part, it's probably just like in the afternoon or maybe the evening. But Venus and Uranus in a conjunction with one another, Venus does rule love and money and, you know, the things that we really enjoy as human beings. So we can have some sudden surprises and shocks happen in those, you know, in those areas of life. So for some people, it could mean they have a shocking surprise that comes up with love. Maybe it's unexpected that they get, you know, a love offering, or like, you know, okay, so layman's terms, like somebody might hit you up that you didn't expect, or hit on you, contact you, ask you out, or maybe you might meet somebody that's a little out of the norm if you're single, or even if you're not single. Venus and Uranus conjunctions, they don't, when there's anything that happens that's related to the planet Uranus when it comes to relationships, it doesn't discriminate. Let me tell you that. Whether you are committed or not, you could be challenged if you're committed under this type of, I'm just keeping it 100. You guys know me. You can even be challenged if you are in a committed relationship. Like you can just be zapped by Uranus because maybe you're walking through the grocery store and suddenly you lock eyes with somebody and there's this crazy connection that's like, whoa, all these sparks flying and you didn't expect it, you know? And then therefore it's like, wow, you know, you can be tested even if you are in a relationship. If you're single, yeah, it could be meeting somebody that's a little like out of the ordinary from your usual type. It could be a sudden meeting of someone and you have this whirlwind connection that happens. And then, but unfortunately with Uranus transits, as fast as things can spark up and flare up, it's as fast as they can fizzle out too. A lot of times it could be like that, you know. Oh, and yeah, I have a Himalayan salt lamp. I finally got one for my workspace because you know they're supposed to like help absorb negative energy, and especially if you work in front of a computer, these are supposed to be like really good for you. And that's why the lighting looks all ooh, it's totally Scorpio, right? So anyway, yeah, that's how Venus conjunct Uranus can challenge you in relationships. Or if you're already in one, it's not always, you know, someone will be tempted to cheat. It's just that maybe you realize that some things have gotten a little stale in your union, and you want a spark back that has been lost. You know, you want to do something exciting and fun with the person that you're with and just add that, you know, back in, like add a little dash of a different flavor into your relationship. That's what that can bring to you. You're committed. Maybe there could be some sudden windfalls or even some sudden losses for some people, to be honest, with money and finances or material things. So definitely, you know, protect your material things, because maybe you can like out of nowhere lose something, or um you know, something like that can happen with like something that you hold dear to you, that you carry around a lot, like your phone, or I don't know, anything. um Technology, let me tell you, anytime anything comes into contact with Uranus, personal planets, you know, the sun, um Mercury, Venus, Mars, especially like Mercury and Uranus, but even the other planets too. There could be some technological fails, or like just weird things that happen with your technology, with your devices. With Venus and Uranus, I would say it could be anything. It could be any item that you walk around with that's, you know, has some technological components to it, you know, that's a piece of technology. And maybe there could be some weird stuff, like my phone has been acting up and it's been so annoying, like highly annoying. When Mercury crossed Uranus, I had a lot of issues, and then now Venus is, and it's like just doing weird little annoying things. And you know, just stuff like that can happen under this transit. But yeah, it can be something exciting. It can be you trying out something new all of a sudden when it comes to your appearance. Like maybe you get a Venus and Uranus transit is one where people can just out of nowhere get a tattoo or a piercing that they were too afraid to get before. Maybe they were contemplating on it, thinking about it for a while, and now it's just like zap, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Uranus's energy could be very random in nature. So yeah, maybe some people will do something like that, or maybe like a different hair color or something. Like you just decide to do something crazy and sporadic with your look, you know, a drastic haircut, or hair color, or something, or buy an outfit. You can, this is like an impulse buy, impulse shopping type of transit too, to where yeah, you just buy something and you're like, you know what, this is out of the norm for me, but I'm going to try this style of whatever this is, and you just buy it. But you know what, sometimes with a transit like this, once it fades, maybe we can go back to our normal selves. If you are a person that's like normal, meaning you do the same things all the time, you're very consistent, you don't really experiment a lot with your looks or whatever. That's what I mean by that. Once the transit fades, you could be like, oh my God, what did I do? I don't really dig this haircut after all, or this hair color. Or, you know, I did this before on a Venus and Uranus transit where I bought this eyeshadow from this like indie brand, and it looked so cute and so pretty. It was like a really electric neon pink eyeshadow, totally Uranian, right? And it was beautiful, and the packaging was beautiful. It came in the mail. I was so excited. Don't you know I've only worn that eyeshadow color one time? One time. It's crazy, but I really wanted, I bought it on impulse with a Venus and Uranus conjunction transit like a couple years ago. I've still only worn it once, because I'm very Uranian, but I usually stick to like neutral. Like I have everyday things that I have to do, so I have to put makeup on real quick, and it's usually like neutrals and browns, and you know what I'm saying? So is that something realistically I would use all the time? But it was an impulse Uranus lightning thing. So some people may do things like that. Um let me see what you guys are saying, and then I'll show you guys, I'll screen share the full moon chart, because it's a really interesting full moon, of course, like really interesting. Okay. Adrian says it's 3 a.m. and you can't sleep. Yeah, I feel you, Adrian. Obviously, I'm here. And that's the time it is where I'm at too. Oh, been waiting for this video. Hey, I can't really read your name. Idil. I think that's how you pronounce it. Oh, it's your birthday, Taylor. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. You're a Taurus moon, Beth. Hey, what's up, Beth? Taurus, fellow Taurus. Donovan. Oh, okay. Yeah, heebie-jeebies. Donovan says feeling the heebie-jeebies with the Scorpio moon. Yeah, because it's hitting, like your Scorpio rising Taurus moon. Yeah, it's hitting you double. So anyhow, let's see. Okay, yeah, we can't do that here. All right, guys. So let me show you guys the chart for the Scorpio full moon, and let's just discuss it really quick. And you know, I'll give you guys a horoscope. But one last thing I want to tell you is on the 21st, we have the Sun and Mercury moving into the sign of Gemini, which is really interesting because Mercury rules the sign of Gemini, and the Sun and Mercury will be traveling together. Don't you know, people will be talking so fast, like really talking a lot and very quickly, and our minds are going to be racing with ideas and going on from one thing to the next, one thing to the next. If anybody goes on any dates during the Sun and Mercury and Gemini, let me tell you, it may be, if you're the type that is like, you really want to connect with somebody, you really want to have a good conversation that's steady, and you really want the attention on you, it may not be able to be achieved. Either you or the other person or both might be on your phones, texting, multitasking, looking around, looking at the screen, at the bar, at the sports that's on TV. Like, oh, what's that over there? And it's very super uber Gemini energy. So anything that you want to really focus and concentrate on might be a little difficult, but I'll tell you one thing. Sun and Mercury and Gemini, that energy to me, it sounds like a lot of fun. It's bubbly, it's very effervescent, if I'm gonna be using fancy words. It's very childlike. It is very just fun, humorous. I love the way that Gemini energy brings out our sense of humor. Sharing memes, texting things very fast and like quick-witted. So we will have a lot more of that energy in the air that'll help us to get through this heavy Scorpio full moon period that we're in right now, and that like the energy is still going to be lingering on over the next couple of weeks. We'll be seeing the effects of the full moon still in the weeks following it. So the lighthearted Gemini energy, hey, you know what? I welcome it. Hopefully you guys do too, because it'll help us to snap out of dwelling on things and, dwindling feelings, being all in our feels and deep emotions and stuff with the Scorpio moon. So it'll be a really nice shift in energy, trust me. So both of them shift on the 21st. Um, Mercury's only going to be in Gemini until June 4th because Mercury moves very fast. And then the sun's going to be in Gemini till the 21st. So for the first like week or so, Sun and Mercury are going to be like this. So the energy, the mental energy is really going to be on high. The mental activity, it's really going to be up there. So that's pretty much what's going on this week. The major things. So the star of the evening is the full moon in Scorpio. So let's pull her up here and see what she's doing for us, and then I'll tell you guys your horoscope for this very intense full moon. It's crazy because I don't know if maybe I'm just not really on social media that much like right now because I've been doing a lot of work stuff. Even though work does include social media for me too, but I haven't been like browsing as much. But I've noticed before that when there's like full moons in Scorpio every year, that there's articles that go around from like not even astrology, like real astrology publications. It's like, some that are kind of spiritual in nature and they try to cover astrology stuff sometimes. And they'll make like the biggest, hugest deal out of a Scorpio full moon and scare the crap out of everybody with like this picture of this big red scary or black moon, like ree, ree, ree. And it's like the full moon's in deadly Scorpio. I haven't seen anybody literally use the word deadly, but it's just kind of like the presentation of it all is like that's the vibe. And it's like, oh my gosh, are you serious? But Scorpio, the sign of Scorpio does rule death, and but not just like, oh, we're all gonna die. It's also like it's death and regeneration. What's going on here? Okay, this is just it. Okay, it's death and regeneration that happens to us every day in so many ways. It's not always just literally a physical death. It's like a death meaning just an end to something, and then as a result of that, something new can blossom. Which is the regeneration part. It's like something ends and in the same area of life there's like a new perspective gained, or there's just something new that blossoms from it, from an old part of it dying off. It could just be an old part of yourself that like you just say, you know what, I'm gonna shed a layer, an old skin, like not literally, but like the snake, um like a snake or something that sheds old skin and then has fresh and brand new, like I'm free from this old shell that was dragging me down. That can mean something that you've been carrying, a burden you've been carrying, a trauma, something like that's just been in the back of your mind forever, or just that's been heavy on you, whether emotionally, spiritually, or whatever. Like it's like getting rid of it and then feeling a sense of freedom because of it, and then you're ready to start a new chapter. That's the whole death and rebirth thing with Scorpio. Okay, it's not always literal like scary stuff. So anyway, here's the full moon in Scorpio. So We have the sun at 27 degrees of Taurus and the moon at 27 degrees of Scorpio. So they oppose each other. They're both illuminating, lighting things up. That's why we see the moon so clearly in the sky, is because of the opposition. So this is a Taurus Scorpio axis, which does deal with security in a lot of ways. They both do, but in some different ways. Taurus is like financial security, material security. And as a result of that, you can feel emotional security. Like if you have a home, if you have a house, if you have a car, you feel secure because you're able to go where you know every day I can go where I need to go. You know every day that you're going to have a roof over your head to protect you, to protect your material things that you cherish, to protect your family or whatever. Security in having those things makes you feel like I can survive, as a human being. Um, Also, Taurus energy can deal with security that is material that can lead to emotional as well by not just the basics of material things, but also like some things that are dear to us, like that we treasure and we hold on to them. Like if you have like a stuffed animal from childhood, for example, and even though it's all tattered, worn, beat up, stained up, or whatever, you still hang on to it. Um, it's a material thing, but it holds emotional value. So Taurus energy deals with that. And then Scorpio energy is like emotional security. A lot of times Scorpio can deal with fear, and especially fear of like abandonment and fear of loss, because once again it can rule the darker side of life, the things that happen in life that, yeah, they are kind of scary, or they do give us like feelings that we've been through a traumatic period of time, a traumatic experience, and that sticks with us. And sometimes we hold on to that, in weird ways. Or sometimes we don't intentionally hold on to it. It's just still in the back of our minds. It's embedded within our like soul and our aura and our energy field. Scorpio deals with emotional security also that we find within other people. Like, you really bond with someone like soul to soul, you know? It's beyond the physical, is Scorpio. And when someone has affected you in that way or you've bonded in that way, we hang on to that, and we find security in knowing that we have that person that knows us and we know them, and we've shown them, the darkest parts of ourselves, the ugliest parts of ourselves, the most vulnerable parts of ourselves. They've seen that and yet they're still there. Oh, we will cling on to those people, you know? Or just like the way that someone made us feel emotionally, because this is a water sign that deals with emotions. Um, we hold on to that feeling that they gave us and we never want to let it go, no matter what situation comes along that can maybe take that person away, they're removed from our lives or our presence for some reason. We still will hang on to the feelings. And we feel secure in that for whatever reason. So this axis deals with security, hanging on, not always easy to let go if you've got Taurus or Scorpio energy popping off, both of them cling to things for dear life because they both do deal with like survival. Taurus is material things we hold on to for survival. I need money in order to survive. I need food. I need water, shelter, all that stuff to survive. And Scorpio is like very primal emotional energy, about surviving. Like we need connections emotionally with people to survive. You know what just came to my mind? That movie, what is the name of that movie with Tom Hanks where he like befriends that volleyball Wilson? What? Oh my god, I can't think of the name. You guys help me out. But if you've seen the movie, you know it's Castaway. Is it Castaway? I think it's Castaway. I can't see the comments right now because I'm showing you guys, I'm screen sharing this chart, but I believe that's the name of the movie. Correct me if I'm wrong though. But that's to me, that movie, I haven't seen it in a long time to remember all the details of it, but I know that he was stranded and he had to survive physically. He had to work with the physical resources around him in order to survive, but he was missing that emotional connection because he was the only person, the only human there. There's no human interaction. So he created um the volleyball as like a person, Wilson. That was the brand name, so he named it Wilson because he needed that emotional connection too. You need both in order to survive and thrive as a human being. So anyway, this axis deals with those themes. So with a full moon, there's things that come to like a finalization of some sort, a final decision that's made, final realization about something. So for just in general, not even through the signs, but like as a collective, maybe we could be having some of those things come to light for us right now. Something about an emotional something or someone that we've been holding on to and clinging on to maybe for way too long, and or maybe something physically, like we need to get rid of it but we just been hanging on for too long, maybe because of how this axis can work together and recycle the energy, like in a cycle like this. Maybe you're hanging on to a person, a material thing for emotional comfort, but maybe it's time to get rid of it because it hanging around is like an eyesore, or it's like a burden somehow. And vice versa. These two energies, there has to be something that meets in the middle for us to be able to like let go of something, or let an old unhealthy attachment to something or someone die away so that there's a regeneration of the way that we feel about them or perceive them or relate to them or something. Them meaning person, physical, material things, whatever. So, what's interesting is Mercury is in a conjunction with the sun here in this full moon. So there's a lot of, you know, Taurus energy could be very stoic and just kind of chill and be quiet. And Taurus energy, we're always accused of being like angry or mean or just having no feelings and just sitting there with a blank face. Like that emoji that has only the eyes and no mouth, or the one that has the eyes and the mouth is just like a straight line. That's like a Taurus face right there. Um, and not really that talkative of a sign. That's for our neighbor Gemini, okay, to be like running off the mouth all the time. Taurus just kicks back, does its job, speaks when they feel like something is worthy of being spoken of. Otherwise, it's like we don't really care. But Mercury being with the sun in this full moon configuration in the sky, this is things being spoken about though. This is things being spoken about. It's opposing the full moon. So there could be very emotional conversations that come to the forefront, emotional, like it's super emotional charged thoughts that maybe we've been, both Taurus and Scorpio can let things, like I mentioned earlier, hold on for too long. They can hold on for way too long and try to troop it out and try to be so strong. Neither sign likes to show how they truly feel because feelings to them equal weakness, and this is an axis of surviving, right? And in order to survive, you cannot be weak. You can't sit there or lay there crying. Like, what good is that going to do you? What is that going to bring to you materially to do that? How are you going to survive? Like, if you're so deep in your feelings, you can't do anything. So neither sign likes to show emotions very much. They see it as being weak. But there will be some emotions that come to the surface that are definitely spoken about because Mercury's involved. And then it will definitely be some things that are hidden that we've tried to hide away. And, because look, we have, first of all, Mercury is making a trine to Pluto. Pluto is the ruling planet of Scorpio. So the ruler of the moon, the depositor for it is Pluto, and it's actually making a good aspect, to the moon itself. So the moon and Pluto are in a good relation to one another, and that means that there are some things that are going to have light shed upon them that have been like stashed away for a long time, or whether that's intentionally or not, and whether it's intentional or not that we want things to come out, they will. They will. If it's not on the day of the full moon, at the time of the full moon, it's like in the weeks following. Um, for some people, that can mean like some scandals come to the surface, like, like people say now, the tea has been spilt. Stuff like that, yeah, can come about. Scorpio deals with secrets, really deep secrets, dark secrets a lot of times. The skeletons in your closet is all Scorpio energy. And Pluto can rule stuff like that too. So they're working together. So yeah, hidden information will be revealed and uncovered and decoded and stuff. So that's just in general how what's going on with this full moon. But another thing is that I find interesting is on the day of the full moon, at the time of the full moon, Venus and Uranus are conjunct as well in the sign of Taurus. Um, I can go on and on about this conjunction, but I talked about it earlier a little bit. But all I'm gonna say is in relation to the full moon, Taurus energy is very resistant to change. Scorpio can be too. It's like it could be resistant, but then in the end, when change happens, it transforms Scorpio because they're affected so deeply by the change, right? But neither sign really digs change very much. Taurus is about consistency and being able and reliability and the comfort of like that we find within consistency. We can expect things every day to be the same, things to be in their same place all the time. That's Taurus energy, but the ruler of Taurus, the ruler of the sun in this full moon configuration, the depositor is Venus. And Venus is conjunct Uranus, which is about great change, right? Changes that we don't expect, that we're just hit with out of nowhere. Um, I feel like a big, especially as a native Taurus and Scorpio myself, um, I feel like something that could be a big lesson with this full moon, no matter what your sign is that yeah, sometimes you do have to let go, and sometimes you have to step outside of your comfort zone for something, for some reason. And sometimes that can be all of a sudden, but you still have to roll with it. You have to learn that not everything is going to stay the same all the time, and you still have to find a way to survive and be secure in things, even if something crazy comes up, you know? And that change is okay. Change is inevitable. Change is going to happen in life no matter what, who, where, why, it will. So, anything that is stagnant in your life, this full moon is one that can move it away. And Taurus energy, especially, and Scorpio can stubbornly cling on. So, I feel like this is going to push things away that we have stubbornly clung to. Um, so just take that and apply it to your life, however. And once again, I will be going through the signs right now. But yeah, I just wanted to share the I wanted to be able to demonstrate and point out what the heck I'm talking about here. So this is a full moon of great change, and it could be changes that we don't expect and maybe we don't really like. They make us feel uncomfortable, insecure in some way, but we have to figure out a way to pick ourselves back up and still have a sense of security, and just know that nothing lasts forever, no one lasts forever, and we have to be cool with that. As harsh as that may sound, I'm not like a hippie fairy like astrologer that's like everything is awesome 24/7. So I'm gonna tell you the real. It can bring some things like that to us, but doesn't mean it's all bad and scary. No. There could be some really, really cool changes that happen. Like maybe you've been holding on to a job and it's just been like, oh, I'm plugging along at this job, even though I hate it. I really wish I could find, like, I don't really want to change it, but I know I should. I wish I could find the right job. And then being the right job opportunity pops up. And it's something that it's a scary change, but you're like open to it. You know, it's something that's going to create a brand new beginning for you that's positive in your life. Same thing with relationship. Maybe you've been hanging on to the same one for years and it's been so up and down, and really you guys should let go a long time ago. Still been clinging on and miserable together. And you're like, you know what? If I don't always agree with this. I'm just giving you an example though. If I found like someone else that met my standards, made me feel, like I truly want to feel, made me feel happy. If I met somebody like that, I would leave this boring, old, stale, stagnant relationship today. Bing, guess what can happen? Someone is dropped in your path that blows your mind, and you're like, wow, I see now that there's other people out there for me, and I don't have to stay in this situation, especially if it's emotionally draining, which is Scorpio, or detrimental to my self worth, which is Taurus. And in the end, maybe it might be painful to leave, but at the same time, new and different is still good. You could find something, whoa, I never expected to feel like this or to have this side of me brought out that's beautiful. And this person is a beautiful person inside and out. I never expected to meet someone like this. The breakup sucks. It's unfortunate, but hey, I'm happy. So that's what I mean with what the effects of this full moon can bring. If you're afraid of letting things go and losing things, I mean, I'm sorry, it sucks, but it can still lead to some good stuff that's, the best for you. So, that is the full moon in Scorpio, just in general. And let me see what you guys are talking about over here. Okay. Yeah, so that's just in general with the full moon in Scorpio, what I feel like the lessons are. Have you read my sign? I have not gone through the signs yet. I'm about to do that right now. I'm gonna take a sip from my Scorpio cauldron. All right, guys. So, yeah, Wilson. Yeah, was that the name of the movie? Did I get it right? Yeah, Hopes at Resting Bee Face. Yeah, that's Taurus energy and Scorpio and Capricorn and Virgo, all known for the RBF. Donovan is giving us the numerology of the full moon, which is the degree of the full moon. 27. 2 plus 7 equals 9. Death of the old, make way for rebirthing new. Yes, most deaf. What do we have to let go of? It's big, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Makes a lot of sense. It sure does. Thank you for that numerology point, because yeah. 27, that 27th degree. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay, guys. So let me tell you guys by sign how it affects you. Donnie asked a really good question. Isn't the sun on the fixed star Algol? It sure is. That 27th degree of Taurus. I forgot to mention that because the website I pulled up real quick just to have that configuration, it doesn't show fixed stars, but I remember the degree of that fixed star like by heart. Okay. 27 degrees Taurus. Yes, it is. Algol is said to be a fixed star that can rule some really toxic addictions sometimes. And they say that the word alcohol um, originates from, it's a derivative of the word algol, supposedly, allegedly, conspiracy. So it could be about letting go of some really toxic addictions, perhaps, that maybe we cling on to for some security reason, and maybe there could be a release of that with this full moon too. You're absolutely right, it sure is. Okay, guys, so now let me go through the signs for the full moon in Scorpio. Remember, the rising sign is the most accurate. The sun sign is next, very accurate for timing too, and then the moon sign, it can give some accurate predictions as well, but it's more like an emotional effect or like an emotional perspective of things is the your moon sign. So full moon in Scorpio. So for Aries people, the full moon in Scorpio, this is on the axis of your 8th and 2nd houses. And because you guys are the kings and queens of the zodiac wheel, meaning it starts with you, okay? It's pretty much everything that I mentioned. If you're looking at a timestamp, you'll be like, what did she say about my sign? I don't know. So I'll repeat some things a little bit, Aries, just for you, for the timestampers. So this is on the axis of your 8th and 2nd houses, which do deal with security, like one way or another, emotional or material security. So there's something that is having to be worked out there. Could be maybe you because the 8th house can deal with codependency sometimes, not necessarily like always clinging on to someone, but like that type of codependency. But it could be like depending upon others for help and support. That can even be financial. And then the 2nd house is about being very self-sufficient, saying, no, I can do it myself. I can take care of myself. I can buy this for myself. I don't need anybody to do anything for me. That's 2nd house energy. So they oppose each other. So the full moon is like trying to bring some resolution to something that could be financial for you, Aries. It could be maybe you have had others support you financially for a minute. Now you have to be completely self-sufficient. You have to find a job or something along those lines. Maybe you've gotten like some government assistance or something for a while, and maybe that's going to run out, or some sort of benefit, and that's going to run out. And now you have to go to the 2nd house, which is Taurus energy, and you have to get a job and be able to take care of yourself. It could be something like that. And also this full moon, the moon in your 8th house, yeah, that is super emotional. I'm not gonna lie, it really is. It could be some old like traumatic stuff that you have to work through, that maybe you finally like bring to the surface and work with it somehow. The 8th house, it does rule therapy and psychology. So maybe some Aries people are like, you know what? I've decided I really need to dig deeper with this, experience or issue or something, and get some sort of like therapeutic support for it. And finally, like rid myself of something that I've been holding inside, emotionally. So it could be emotional, it could be material, either way, either side of the axis for Aries people. Um, it could be like maybe separating from a partner and, their finances, and you have to be on your own financially, or maybe it's like a finalization of a decision to join forces financially with a partner. Maybe you're married and you're like, okay, or you live with someone like a spouse or somebody, and you're like, okay, we should join bank accounts, and you guys have been talking about it for a minute, but now it's like, okay, no, now let's do it. Let's join forces financially. I think we can do this. We have goals, we can get to them together if we join forces finally. So it could be that too for Aries people. All right. So next up is Taurus. So if you're a Taurus rising, a Taurus sun, or a Taurus moon, this full moon in Scorpio, on the Scorpio Taurus axis, it affects your 7th house of relationships and your 1st house of the self. So this is a big one for Tauruses and Scorpios, especially with, I mentioned earlier, your ruling planet Venus is conjunct Uranus. So this is like really some sudden changes for Taurus people. And it could be in the realm of relationships, and ones that you didn't expect, or maybe, like I said, you've been hanging on for too long and you just got to let go of a situation, even though it may not be something that you really uh would want to do, but you have to. So the universe is going to give you this little push with this full moon. If you have a relationship that fits that description, like I mentioned earlier, it's stale, stagnant, it's toxic, it's just like you just been hanging on just for the comfort of having that same person around all the time. Tauruses, we can get really caught up in stuff like that very easily. You come home to the same person every day, and you do the same things all the time, and that brings you a sense of security. But sometimes you got to be pushed out of that, even though you might be kicking and screaming in some kind of way. You got to be pushed out of that situation, and then something brand new and like really dope can be awaiting for you. Um, I'll just tell my fellow bulls, because I'm a Taurus sun, that I think, when was it? There was a different full moon. I'm not going to get too deep into my own situation, but since we are bulls here, I'll just tell you, when I had my last relationship, the agreement to break up, when the breakup happened, there was a very similar configuration in the sky. There was like, I think Venus was opposing Uranus, and something else was going on with Uranus and a full moon. And it really just made that decision, come to light. And right after that, I had like a very unexpected meeting of someone that really just blew me away, as far as like showing me a different perspective of relationships and what I really truly wanted in relationships. Having somebody around for a long time, we value longevity, we value stability, but sometimes that's not the best thing for us. And sometimes, it's like, what happened in my case is I was like, oh my gosh, this person has all these qualities that I've never even had in a man in a relationship, but I know I should. Like, I've never seen these qualities before, but I'm just like, wow, this is what I really need. How come I've never went after this before, And so it was like immediately after I'm sure it was a full moon, just caused the split. It was, okay, this sucks. But then right after, bing, here's this other person that was like, hey, I'm your ideal, in a lot of ways. And I'm like, oh my God, where have you been? So yeah, this is a full moon where I feel like some Tauruses can experience something similar. Um, but anyhow, as far as relationship stuff, it doesn't always have to do with that, with breaking up, Taurus. So don't be scared. Some of you guys may remain in the same situation that you're happily comfortable with, but maybe there's just a new chapter for you guys that awaits, that maybe you guys have been scared of, maybe scared of taking the next step with a commitment, or taking the next step of like something really huge, like buying a house together or moving in together, or some like really serious step, that really seals the deal. Like, this is for real. So it could be something like that this full moon brings to you. There's something with you and with the other person. Like, it's like the sun in the first, the moon in the seventh. Maybe there's something that you got to let go of, like some ego stuff, in order for you to really allow yourself to join with another person. Like, maybe you like your things your way or the highway, Taurus. You know how we do, how stubborn we are. My way. But now you're like, I got to let go of that if I really want to compromise with somebody and really have this thing work, because this person really makes me happy. So you got to let go of that my way stuff, at least a little bit, and bend a little bit. So yeah, for some Tauruses, it's good relationship stuff. It's not just breakups. And then for some, if you are single and remain single, it's just maybe some realizations about how you handled yourself within relationships, or what you've accepted or not accepted, and how you should go forward in life with either thing. What qualities do you really like and someone really need in a relationship, and what have you been accepting instead of that? There's just something that's illuminated, because the two luminaries are involved. Hello. So it's really brought to light, like, what do I really want? Who do I really want? What do I really deserve? Why haven't I gone after that? Or whatever. So it's like it's more maybe mental and emotional, like, and internal realizations for some Tauruses, um with this full moon. And it's probably some things that come to you in a flash also for some of you guys, because of your ruler conjunct Uranus in the mix here. Okay, so next up is Gemini. So if you are a Gemini, sun, rising, or moon, then this full moon in Scorpio is between your your 6th and your 12th houses. So for some of you guys, this could be more like along the lines of work and jobs, that maybe if you guys have been like holding on to a job situation, like you've been stuck in it for a little while, you want to get out of it, but you don't know how. Maybe this full moon can bring like an aha light bulb moment to how you can get out of it. Or for some of you guys, maybe you're pushed out of that work situation unexpectedly, or, like involuntarily, but as a result of it, it's like, whoa, now this could be one of those situations where maybe you get laid off from a job, right? Knock on wood, Geminis. I hope that doesn't happen to you guys, but if it does, listen. If it comes along with the full moon, it's divine timing. Just keep that in mind, okay? So what if you guys are like let go or laid off, but then within the next couple of days you get a job offer of a lifetime? You're like, wow, this job pays better than my last one. The work environment, the drive or the distance there, so much better than my last job that I had been at for years. And once again, Taurus and Scorpio energy, especially the Taurus, can value like consistency and longevity, but maybe that's not always the healthiest thing in some situations, So maybe it could be like, yeah, I was there at this job, but it sucked. It was mentally and emotionally draining for me. But I was still hanging on. But now, you know, peace out to that place. Maybe you guys, what is that movie? I don't know why I'm on this whole movie thing right now, but what is that movie where the guy, he goes around like he got fired, right? And he starts pointing at people, F you, you're cool, F you, you're cool, I'm out. I can't remember the movie, but I remember the scene very clearly because I've been at jobs before where people try to actually reenact that when they get fired, and it makes us all laugh. Anyway, that could happen. I could see a Gemini doing that. You guys are so funny and witty and stuff. I'm sure some of you guys just right like in a flash come up with that. Come up with that in your mind if you're in that situation. But anyway, yeah, so it could be a job situation for Geminis that you guys, you gotta let go of it one way or another. Or maybe it is that not that you're gonna leave a job or get fired or anything. Maybe it's you stay at the same place, but you're bored with what you're doing there. You want to move up. You want to do something different, but in the same place. So maybe you've been afraid to take that leap, but maybe with this full moon, it's like, you know what? I am worthy, because the Taurus energy, especially in this full moon, it deals with like worth and value. That can mean of the self and how much you get paid, and where they put you at a job. Is it something that where you can really flex your skills and be a person that they find valuable, or are you just like all mousy in a corner somewhere? You know what I mean? Like easily replaced because they don't even recognize your worth or your talent or your skills. So for some of you guys, it could be like a realization like, I'm worth more than this. I should apply for this promotion or this other position that's like way better for me. So it could be something like that for Geminis. Now, this can also deal with health. That could be mental, physical health, emotional, spiritual health too, because of the sun in the 12th house. Sun is in Taurus. So for some of you guys, maybe it's finding that work-life balance. And maybe if any of you guys have to find a new job, maybe it's one that really creates more of that balance for you, so that it's healthier for you. Like you're not just slaving away every day, no time to yourself, no time to really just chill and decompress. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you figure a way to maybe stay at the same job and do that, or get a new job that allows that. Or maybe it's like some bad habits or addictions or something that's really messing with your day-to-day schedule, that you have to change your ways. Maybe it's like even something as simple as like, okay, I'm going to make a decision right now to take 10 minutes a day to do some breathing or some meditation. I know meditation is hard for Geminis, but maybe meditation could be like you listen to music and just like stretch. You're still moving, but you listen to music that kind of takes your mind away off of everything else, or something like that. Whatever that means for you, however you like can do something that's meditation-esque. that's fitting for you, Gemini. Maybe it's deciding to do that. And as a result, it helps you on the other side, which is like your day-to-day schedule, your routine, your work, your job. It makes you a lot happier when you go to work every day and more relaxed and not like, ugh, like all nervy, like sixth house energy. So that's for Geminis. It is a good full moon for Geminis if you do have like I said, a bad habit or an addiction that could be to substances or some habit that you have every day that's just not healthy, in any type of way. All right. So next up is Cancer. So if you're Cancer rising, Cancer sun, or Cancer moon, the full moon in Scorpio is in your fifth house. So that means it's on the axis of the fifth and the 11th. So first of all, Cancers, the sign of Cancer, it does rule motherhood or families and like maternal instincts, maternal energy. And the fifth house can deal with children. So a full moon in the fifth house for some Cancers, maybe it is something to do with your children that really comes to light, that's very important, like an important matter to do with your child or children, or having children, or maybe, you know what, that just makes me think of this YouTuber that I heard is a Cancer rising. And on the day of the full moon, they're doing a gender reveal video. They said, we're finally going to do a gender reveal. And it's on the day of the full moon, which would be a full moon in their fifth house if they are Cancer. So that could be something like something's being revealed. So maybe it could be something happy like that. Like, oh my God, we finally find the gender of the baby, or maybe a pregnancy, you're revealing that, or you discover that you're pregnant, or you're expecting, or your partner's expecting, whatever. So something to do with kids could be, something to do with romantic relationships. Yes, fifth house does deal with that too. So maybe it's like a decision made about that, like whether or not to stay solo and do your own thing, or to be in this romantic union, or be open to dating, or you know what, besides that, the fifth house, it just deals with happiness. I find it does. My natal moon is in the fifth house. So just what makes you happy and gets you like all excited and everything is the fifth house. Like I always say, it's like when a kid sees lights on a Christmas tree, or when you see city lights, when you are like driving through a city like Las Vegas or something, and there's all these lights and you're like, wow. And it like really gives you this excited feeling. I feel like that's what the fifth house energy represents. What gives you that? So the full moon could be making a decision about your own happiness in a way, Cancer, like what makes you happy like that. And so it's not just like romance, not just dating. For some people, the fifth house is their hobbies because of that too. So maybe there's something that you're deciding to step into, like, you know what? I I'm deciding as a Cancer that my own happiness is very important to me. And so therefore I'm gonna take up this hobby of painting, and just I'm going to do that on my time because it makes me feel good. I'm actually talented at it. Or, something that you can do for you, or even something you can do to show off, because fifth house energy loves to show off naturally. It's about like being in the spotlight. But for some people, for some Cancers, this is on the axis of the fifth and the 11th. So we can't leave out the 11th house stuff, which is about being a part of a group, being a part of a group or a network that has a label slapped on them, and you're included in that, but you're like in the mix of that. You're not an individual. You're, hi, my name is blah blah Cancer, and I am a part of blah 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 blah, like whatever that organization or group is. You identify yourself with that. But on the opposite end is the fifth house, where, hi, my name is Cancer, and that's it. And I'm me, and I'm known for being me, and I'm just going to be me. You see what I'm saying? There's the two. There could be a decision that you're making to, maybe if you're doing some sort of project, should you do it with a group, or should you do it on your own and have your own shine? So for some of you guys, it could be something like that. So let me see what you guys are saying. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it could be a decision to do something individually, or that'll give you notoriety as an individual, or recognition or appreciation, or to do it along with like a group of others, to where you're just kind of blended in, you're included in this blah 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 network achieved this, and you're just like in the group photo like, hey, but you don't stand out, you're just with everybody else, so yeah, so that's what it is for Cancer people. So for Leos, so if you're a Leo, you're a Leo sun, rising, or Leo moon. The full moon in Scorpio, you know what? Hold on, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna test out this light real quick. Let's see what this does. Ooh, is this scary looking or what? Let me see. Do I look scary or less scary than just the lamp? All right. Yeah, Leo is ruled by the sun, so da 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 da. This is like a little sun in my room. Okay, so Leos. The full moon in Scorpio is on the axis of your your fourth and 10th houses. So what does that mean? The fourth house is your home life, your personal life, your family, your emotional, like stuff that you hold in or whatever, like keep to yourself, your emotional life. Okay. Um, and the 10th house is your career and how the public sees you and knows you. It's like fourth house is private life, 10th house is public life, right? And it could be there's something that's coming to light and maybe coming to a decision that's based around your family and your home. And on the opposite end is career. So for some Leos, maybe there's like a career decision that affects the home life, or vice versa. Maybe some of you guys want to move. Maybe where you're living, it's just like, you know what? I've been here for a long time. I value the longevity of like how long I've been in this house, but it's just maybe it needs too many repairs, or the neighborhood has gotten worse, or there's just something that doesn't sit well with you anymore, that doesn't give you that comfortable family or warm home environment, cozy feeling. So you have to do something about it. So maybe that means you have to move, or maybe there's something about the house itself, like, okay, look, blah blah is wrong with it, so I'm making this decision, I'm going to fix it. Okay. It could be something like that, but looking at the axis of the fourth and the 10th, including both of those things, maybe for some of you guys it's moving, but as a result, maybe you got to change your career, or you know yeah, like maybe you have an opportunity that comes up with career, especially with like Uranus up there in your career house, and Venus, the ruler of it, is being zapped by Uranus. Maybe there's something that comes up like, holy crap, you take on this new position, but it's going to require me to move or relocate. Or the route is going to be one, that's a little different. Like the location is a little further away. So that'll affect like my home life, or I don't know, something like that. Like either area could be really extremely affected, and it affects the other one, if I'm making sense. Um, so yeah, like there's something there. Brandy says, Leo rising, you're leaving your job of 12 years. Yeah. Yeah. Vicky says, putting up brushwood screening all around your deck for privacy. Yeah, at your home, you're making your home more secure, feel more secure, because Scorpio energy, especially if you have Scorpio in the fourth house, yeah, you are more than likely someone who does want things like video cameras and security this, security that, alarms, maybe you have all the big bushes around your, yeah, like you said, so nobody can like look into your backyard and see all your business all the time. Maybe you like to lay out and sunbathe. Like, do you really want everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like seeing all your biz. Maybe it's just some things like that. But yeah, there could be something that affects the home and the career, or maybe it's something to do with your position of authority, or as a parent, or with parental figures or elders, that also affects like other things within the family. That's also like the 10th and the fourth house axis too. But maybe there's something very emotional too that comes up that you have to deal with, and maybe it makes it so you got to take time away from your career. Or maybe this is another axis that can deal with work life balance. Like maybe your family, there's something going on to where they're like, hey, we need more of your time, Leo. We need more of your energy. We need you to put more into this family or this household. And as a result, maybe there's something on the 10th house, the career side, that's like, you know what, I'm going to have to step down from my position, or I'm going to have to what's the word, like like demote myself down to not having as many responsibilities. Or maybe I'm just going to have to take a little bit of time off to focus on family, and I got to do that one way or the other, whatever, however that works with your career field. um but yeah, there's just something with family, that could affect career too, one way or another. I mean, it could be so many different scenarios. But yeah, some Leos, basically, full moon in the fourth can mean moving. You make a decision to move, or there's a major household decision that comes up. Okay. Vicky says, spot on. I've got an old perv next door, and you want to sunbathe without being gawked at. I hear you on that, Vicky. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. Ja Japoozle boy, subscribe to. No, I'm not. I've heard the name PewDiePie. I've heard that name a lot. But I've never watched anything of theirs. Should I though? Should I check them out? Is there anything going on with them that we can look at their astrology? Let me know. Okay, so next up is Virgo. So if you're a Virgo rising, sun, or Virgo moon, the full moon in Scorpio is on the axis of your third and ninth houses. Now, full moon in the third house, whenever I see this, I will always tell people, look, you need to be extra careful with driving, okay? Because I have seen full moon in the third house. Sometimes it does bring people situations to where they have to get a new vehicle because something happened to their vehicle, okay? Some damage happened one way or another. And I don't want to scare the crap out of you guys, but I'm just being honest. I've seen that with full moons. So really, check up on your vehicle, Virgo. Usually Virgos are very good with that. Very good with like routine checkups or actually being mechanics themselves. So really check up on your vehicle under this full moon. And also drive carefully and safely too. Usually Virgos are safe drivers from what I know. You guys like to do everything by the book. Put this hand on 6 o'clock and this one on 12. I don't know what the proper one is, Virgo. Let me know. You guys correct me. It's like one hand is on one clock hand and the other is on. I don't know. I just drive. But Virgos, you guys are good with stuff like that. So you guys are good with like keeping up with things to do with your vehicles. Please do that. Okay. Also, third house, it deals with communication, and that can mean communication methods and devices. So yeah, something may come up, Virgo, to where you have to like get a different phone, different laptop, iPad, computer, whatever, watch something, whatever you use to communicate with others. You may have to get something new, do something, get a new one, or change something up with how you communicate. And you know what, also the communication thing is not always just the devices. It is the way in which you communicate with others. Maybe there's something that comes up that's like, you know what, even though you guys are ruled by Mercury, okay, and your ruling planet is involved in this full moon, maybe you guys are not always the best communicators for some reason. So maybe there's something that comes up that makes you realize that you're like, you know what, I need to be better at, texting people back or something like that. Now, this axis also deals with learning and education. So for some of you guys, Virgo, maybe you're like, you know what, I want to acquire a new skill. Maybe this full moon makes you realize that I want to acquire this new skill, a new language, maybe even. Third house and ninth house especially can deal with that, because the ninth house is like foreign stuff, So maybe there's something to do with like, I want to learn a new language. I want to, and also third house is traveling. So maybe something comes up to where you make a decision like, should I, you know what, like I really need to take a trip. I need to get away. But should I go to the city that's not too far away from where I live? Or should I actually go to another state or another country? So there could be a decision with that. But for some of you guys, maybe it is like a major school decision too. Like, if any of you guys, a lot of people are graduating right now. So maybe there's a major like decision of your secondary education that comes up. Like, okay, should I go to this university that's here in my hometown, or should I go to one that's like across the country? Which one has the better programs for me? You know what I'm saying? Nevra says, spot on. I have to get my phone and laptop fixed. All my devices are acting up. Yeah, I hear you with that Venus and Uranus conjunction. Anything that comes in contact with Uranus and Taurus can make things act up technology wise. And yeah, the full moon can be like, you know what? I can't take this anymore. I really need to I really need to fix this so I can communicate properly digitally. Okay. So, oh, hey, what's up, Tara? Thanks for coming through. It's okay, 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Okay, thank you. Thank you guys for correcting me. 10 and 2, wherever that is. I'm too Uranian for that. Sorry. But Virgos are good at stuff like that. Thank you to my Virgos. But anyway, yeah. So there's some kind of like the third and ninth house can deal with a lot of different things, but you guys are definitely coming to some point of something final or aha, you know what? I think I should change this, with third house matters. So next up is Libra. If you're a Libra rising, Libra sun, or Libra moon, the full moon in Scorpio is on the axis of your second and eighth houses. So just like your opposite sign Aries, this has to do with the themes of the signs of the full moon, which is Taurus and Scorpio, which is security, financial or emotional security. So you guys, the moon part of it is in your second house, and the sun and everything else in Taurus is in your are in your eighth house. So I feel like for you guys, maybe this could be something financial too, to where like you have to maybe you guys haven't been like so much like codependent upon others. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you've been too strong for too long financially with taking care of your own self, being self-sufficient, but maybe you need a little help, and maybe it's time for you to admit that. Maybe you've been stubbornly clinging on to, you know what, I'm good, I can take care of my own. But maybe you're going through a struggle, but you just don't want to admit it. And maybe there's support that's there for you, but it's up to you whether or not you're going to take it. So there could be an admittance of that. Or maybe for some of you guys, it could be something to do with a job, because the second house is like how you earn your money by your own efforts. So maybe for some Libras, a full moon in the second is like, you know what, I need a better paying job. Second house is your pay, and the eighth house on the other end is financial support from others and other like resources. Maybe you've been drawing from your resources. Eighth house can deal with credit stuff too, like loans. Maybe you've been like, oh, I've been living off credit cards because this job isn't paying me my worth. I've been having to borrow money from people and take out loans because this job just isn't cutting it. So maybe you make a decision to get a higher paying job, to ask for that raise, or to maybe even get a second job or third job or whatever, or like do something on the side to make money. Or maybe it could be something to do with residual income, because the eighth house deals with that. It's like something that you do or you create, that you do it that one time, and then you can repeatedly over and over again get paid for that same thing. And that way it allows you time to do more second house stuff, which is put in effort constantly to bring in money, but you still have that eighth house stuff, which is there's still a little bit of money trickling in here and there. So you don't have to keep going and going and going and going just to survive. It's like, no, I got this little thing running in the background as backup. For some of you guys, maybe it is something to do with the partner's money too, like your money versus theirs. And if you collaborate with others in any way, it doesn't even have to be romantically, on bills and stuff. Maybe there's something that has to be met in the middle with that you guys decide upon. So yeah, let's see. Okay. Helen says, yeah, you're right. Since my husband died. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I've been very independent and working 2 jobs. So Helen, I'm assuming you said you're a Libra sun. Yeah. So there is support for you, I'm sure, Helen, if you just kind of allow yourself to, take advantage of that. The Taurus Scorpio axis could be very stubborn and doesn't like to show weakness, like I mentioned earlier. So it's okay. Like, I think there's something that says it's okay, just let go. Like, it's okay to whatever. You won't be a weakling if you do this, allow this change. So yeah. So yeah, Helen, my condolences to you too. But yeah, so that's what it is for Libra people. It could be something financial, it could be something to do with your own self-worth that you realize. Maybe you had this toxic or codependent relationship that's very eighth house, scorpionic, and you've been hanging on to it for a long time, and maybe it's depleting you, like, emotionally and spiritually and everything, and now you're just like, you know what, I need to let go of it because I'm worth more than that, which is the second house. I'm worth more than just hanging on to this old thing, person, just because. So that's what it is for Libra. So for Scorpio, let me take a sip from my Scorpio mini cauldron. All right, so if you're a Scorpio rising like me, or if you're a Scorpio sun or a Scorpio moon, the full moon in Scorpio is in your sign, but it's between your sign and your opposite sign, which is you versus others, you and relationships. So for you guys too, Scorpio, just like Taurus is, this is something to do with you and relationships, like I said. So I would say for you guys too, it could be letting go of a relationship, or maybe just an unhealthy tie, or unhealthy attachment to someone, or an unhealthy part of a relationship, not the whole thing itself, just trashing it, but maybe just like, look, we have been together for a while and there's some toxic behaviors that just need to stop, because they're hurting me. Or maybe it's like you yourself, Scorpio, like, I realize that I've been hurting you and I'm sorry. And that's a hard thing for Scorpio to do. Scorpio is a very stubborn sign, doesn't always like to admit when they're wrong. If they hurt people, sometimes it's like, and so maybe you deserved it. But maybe there is something that you've been doing that kind of is harmful to your relationship, to your union. It makes it unhealthy. So maybe there's something that needs to um, be cut off or stopped from either person or both people. But yeah, maybe it is also for some of you guys, the relationship itself, it just needs to go. It's been stale, it's been stagnant. Venus and Uranus are together in your seventh house of relationships too. So this could be one of those situations, Scorpio. Like I said, this is my rising sign, and Taurus is my sun sign. So it's like a double whammy, all this Taurus Scorpio stuff. And like I told Taurus, this happened to me where I was in a relationship and it was hanging on for way too long. And then it ended. And then right away, like, I encountered somebody that made me realize what I had been missing and not looking for in relationships that I should have been, or that I should do going forward. And it was just like simultaneous, not simultaneous. What's the word? Like, it was right after. It's very late. So my vocabulary is not that great, but yeah, it's just like, oh, well, this sucks. I've been hanging on to this relationship. It ended, you know, boohoo. But then it's like immediately after, it's like, whoa, wake up call through another person. Like, da 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 da. I'm what you should have been looking for. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's true. Wow, I would be much better off and happier with somebody like this. And I never, if I would have kept hanging on, to something that was just long dead, I wouldn't have ever discovered that. So for some Scorpios, maybe you go through a phase like that. If a breakup does happen, maybe you never know who you can meet under a Uranian transit, okay? But for some Scorpios, if you're single and you're remaining single, maybe it is just like Taurus is, just an internal realization about your behaviors in relationships, what you've accepted, what you have allowed, what you have not allowed in, but maybe you should have, or given a chance, but maybe you should have. Um, the ways that you've behaved, ways other people behave, like something is brought to light, you know, mentally, emotionally, like internally, and you're just like, whoa, wake up call, you know. You still remain single, maybe, but it's just like something that you learn that's very important about yourself and how others view you, or based on your behavior, and how you relate to others. It could be romantic, yeah, but also seventh house is like in general, relating to others and conversing with them, and collaborating with them. Maybe there could be some decision about a collaboration. It could be that too, with seventh house energy involved. Like maybe there's a really dope collaboration waiting to happen with something that you do for leisure or business or whatever. And you're like, I don't know, I'd rather just do it my way, myself, alone. But maybe you realize something like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should give this a chance and not be so stubborn and such a loner, like Scorpio lone wolf, and actually allow myself this opportunity to partner up with someone, for a cool business thing or fun thing. Or maybe some of you guys, it is a decision to get into a relationship because you have been single and been like, nope, nope, blocking everybody out, you know, keeping that steel gate up. Nobody's getting in. There's gargoyles hanging on, off of the gate and everything, scaring them off, like, or a big old dragon head, like statue, on the gates to Scorpio's heart. And you're just like, nope, nope. But maybe it's like, you know what? Somebody is actually making themselves available and putting in an effort. So maybe, and this is a surprise to me, but maybe I should give them a chance and just let go, and stop being so overprotective of me, myself, Scorpio, moon in the first, and allow the sun, the seventh house, sun, Mercury, Venus, Uranus, all that stuff to work for you to like, um, develop like maybe a really cool relationship that could be beneficial to you in some sort of way, like emotionally. So, let me see what you guys are saying. La 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 la. Okay. Sabrina says, I'm a Scorpio rising, Taurus moon, Cancer sun. I've been trying to separate myself from my ex, but I depend on him financially so much. Oh, yeah, that really sucks, Sabrina. In that situation, trust me, I've been there a couple times. And, Scorpio and Taurus and Cancer all really value security. And then you guys don't like to be left out in the cold, literally, like with nothing. Like you'll feel like you have nothing if, you don't have like certain financial and material things or success. So, sometimes you feel like without that person's financial help, oh my God, I'll be on the streets, I'll be homeless, I won't have this, I won't have that, I won't have my car anymore. Like like you tie that into the relationship. Like it's heavily tied in, and it's like not easy for you to cut that off because you'll feel very insecure. Like, where will I go? What will I have? It's not just like, oh, bye, peace. Like, I don't like you anymore or whatever. It's like there's all these other things like stuck to that relationship, So I totally feel you on that. So maybe something might come up for you, Sabrina, that does help you to kind of, usher yourself out of that situation. Hopefully, if it's not something that's healthy for you. Good luck, girl. Okay, so next up is Sagittarius. So if you are a Sag rising, Sag sun, or Sag moon, full moon in Scorpio is on your 12th and 6th house axis. So what does that mean? Well, a full moon in the 12th house is the last one before you get to the first house. So meaning this, Sag, next month in June, there's a full moon in your sign. Okay, but before we get to your sign, the sign before you wraps up some things, gets rid of some things, completes cycles. So this full moon is really calling you to complete a cycle, and it can be spiritual, it can be very emotional, and it could be just something you really have to let go of. That can mean anything, anything. Um, it could mean maybe there is like behaviors or habits that you have that are unhealthy, and you have to say, you know what, I need to stop this for my own sake. You know, um, it could be something to do with substances. For some Sages, Sag is a pretty wild sign that likes to party, usually likes to have a good time, loosen up, woo, throw back a few drinks or do whatever, right? But maybe there's some things that you do that you have to moderate a little better, because the opposite end is the sixth house, which is your health, you know? So maybe it's like, wow, I like to have a good time, but maybe I've been drinking too much and now it's like really detrimental to my health. You know, it's starting to suffer a little bit. So maybe I need to cut that down, or cut it off completely. That's just an example. But a full moon in the 12th house could be some really like spiritual revelations about stuff. Maybe it could be, the 12th house is also a house of like secrets and things that are hidden and mysterious. But this full moon is really going to illuminate some things like that for you guys, Sagittarius. Like it could be anything in your life that you realize, like, wow, um, something that you're doing or something another person is doing that, maybe you didn't really realize, or it's been like subconsciously maybe, but consciously, no, the 12th house does deal with the unconscious stuff and maybe some subconscious stuff. So they're brought up to the surface. Um, so as far as wrapping up old cycles, yeah, a full moon in your 12th house can definitely do that. It is said to be the house of letting go. So anything that you need to let go of in order to move on to the next cycle, the next level, that could be within the past year. That can mean within your past at all. Holding on to anything from the past that's unhealthy for you as a person. And also the 12th and 6th house axis, I call it the mind, body, and soul axis. And also like work-life balance. They go hand in hand, like just like your opposite sign, Gemini. Maybe you guys are like with the 12th and 6th highlighted, maybe it could be you have too much of a routine schedule and not enough me time, free time. And Sag is one of the number one signs that require that me time, free time. Oh my gosh, trust me. I have a lot of Sag friends, and I've been dealing with Sages since I've been single. They've been the only ones that have been coming up to me for some reason. I don't know why, but and I can't tell you how many times I've been like, yo, I haven't heard from you for like a few days, or maybe it's been a week, or in one case, a month. Like, where have you been? Oh, I've just been doing me. And I'm like, okay, I understand if that's a requirement, but you can at least, I'm not going to get into the rest. Anyway, you know how you guys do. You guys really value your freedom and your time to yourself, or time to maybe not just be alone, but like to go off and do your thing. And 12th house energy can deal with that to an extent. It's more about being in isolation, and it is your you time. Like, I don't want to deal with anybody else's energy right now. I need to just be alone. I need to actually rid myself of other people's energy. I need to relax. I need to get far away from, distance myself from people, or distance myself from life, or from my job, or my daily routine. Like, oh my God, it's just really killing me, So there could be something that comes to a point that you realize you need to balance things out a little bit better, so that you have your freedom, you have your time to just breathe, And the sixth house energy, where the sun is at, that is your job, but it's also like, yeah, the things you do routinely day to day, your day-to-day duties and responsibilities can be said to be the sixth house. So maybe you guys have to do something to, like, yeah, I have too much of a schedule and it's like suffocating to me, or maybe I'm floating around too much, too freely without a schedule, and I need to, put more, implement more structure into my days, more routine into my days, so there's something along that axis that needs to like meet in the middle, so you feel balanced as a human being, as a physical being and a spiritual being. So there could be some spiritual realizations, like to where it's like, yeah, I need to be more in tune with the spiritual side of life and not only just with the physical. I'm a physical being, but I'm also a spiritual one. So how can I, mesh the two together, like uh, in a healthy way to where I feel complete. You know what I mean? Um, I have a friend who is a Sag rising, and they have their north and south nodes in Scorpio and Taurus actually around the degree of this full moon. So I'm definitely going to check on them. And excuse me, and I did a reading for them recently because they were going through some stuff, and that's kind of what I channeled, is that they didn't always realize that they were a physical being. Sometimes they were more like on the spirit side, to where they were just in their own head a lot. They're just floating around through life, doing what they want and not really worried about, like, responsibilities and stuff, but they were too much on that side. And then sometimes it's like they're too much on the physical human side, to where they're so worried about, they could be a hypochondriac about their health, or they pay too much attention to like all the little details in life that are like petty and stress them out, when really they should like let go and not focus so much on that. Like, it's like human and spirit need to come together somehow. So that's kind of what I see for Sag for the full moon. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, next up is Capricorn. If you're Capricorn rising, Cap sun, Cap moon. The full moon is in your 11th house. It's on the axis of the 11th and 5th. So a full moon in the 11th. So, for some of you guys, just in general, this can mean something to do with your friendships really comes to a head. Yeah, for some people, it could be something changes within a friendship, or with the circle of friends that you do have. And I know Cappies like to keep their circle small. You guys are like the number one sign to say that little phrase, I keep my circle small. Share a meme with like a mobster with their feet on their desk, or with a meme like RBF, I keep my circle small. That's that's Capricorns all day. But even that small circle, the 11th house can represent them. And maybe you have some realizations about friendships, and who you consider to be friends. Like, who's a friend, like a true friend, versus who is just, yeah, we have mutual friends, we know each other on a surface level, we network with each other. But would I call them if I got a flat tire and know that they would be there for me? Would I call them if I'm in some sort of financial jam and I need somebody to bail me out? Will this person be that friend, or are they just like, oh, hey friend, we shake hands, and then say, small talk, and then, okay, bye, nice seeing you, and then it ends there. Excuse me. Sometimes really big events in your 11th house can cause you to realize stuff like that. Sometimes it can be like an actual event that happens. Um, like maybe you do need to call upon somebody that you consider to be a friend, and maybe they say, oh yeah, I'm sorry, Cappy, I can't, like, I can't be there for you in that way. And then you're like, you know what? I've done this for this person, this and this. I have jumped when they've needed me, but they can't do that for me. I don't know if they're truly a friend then. So some lessons based around that can come up. But also, the 11th house is groups of people and organizations. So maybe there is a group or organization that you associate yourself with, that you belong to. And you need to decide whether or not that still works for you, that resonates with you, that their representation, what they represent, it's still fitting for you. Or, do you really want to blend in with this group of people, or do you want to do something on your own to like make a name for yourself, or be known, or shine out there, or whatever? There could be a decision based on that Capricorns have to deal with. Sometimes the full moon in the 11th, I've seen people, the 11th house is social media, so they'll do things to their social media, like they'll change it, they'll revamp it, they'll rebrand themselves, they will maybe even get off their social media, delete it, decide to do something crazy like that. Or I've seen people put out projects online and distribute them out to the masses when there's a full moon in their 11th house. Um, yeah, the opposite end is the 5th house. So there's something to do with like you being an individual and a person of importance on your own, as well as, or, you know, uh, maybe as well as, like, along with, or versus being someone who is a person of importance, blending in with a group of people, if that makes sense. But yeah, for some of you guys, just basic, could be something to do with a friendship. Something to do with a friendship or a group of friends. You guys are like, either you join one, be like, you know what? I found my peoples. I'm a lone wolf all the time as a Cappy, doing my own thing my way. But I found a group of people that are like so cool that we have so much in common. We represent the same things. We have the same values, whatever, what have you. And you say, I'm going to join in with them. Or it could be like, oh, peace out. These people are about this and this. I don't want my name associated with that anymore. Okay. So next up is Aquarius. So if you're an Aquarius rising, sun, or moon, the full moon in Scorpio is on the axis of your 10th and 4th houses. So for you guys, that is something to do with your career too. Just like your opposite sign, Leo. Leo's, they had more of the emotional stuff on the home side. For you guys, it's your career or how you're known publicly, or like what your title is, So for Aquarius people, just in general, full moon in the 10th, it's either changing something to do with your business or your career, letting go of something, starting something new, maybe a decision to do something new with your career, go in a different direction. For some of you guys, it could be changing your career path. You're like, you know what? I've been doing such and such for years, and I've been kind of scared to make this change, but I think I'm going to make this change now of going, and having a different title. Like maybe you went from being like a dentist to a hairstylist. Like your dream is actually to do hair for a living. And so you've been doing the dentist thing for a long time in order to anchor down your world financially, but really your heart is in like being a hairdresser, doing something creative. So you finally decide to make that jump. Could be something along those lines for Aquarius people. Now, because this is the axis of the 10th and the 4th houses, there's something to do with your family life and your home life that can change as a result of your career, or this is another work-life axis, work-life balance axis. So maybe you guys have been spending a lot of time with your career, but as a result, maybe your personal life or your family life suffers somewhat, and they're like trying to pull you down, like, Aquarius, you're never home. What about us? Something like that. I have a lot of Aquarius friends. I have a lot of Aquarius and Sag friends. But I have an Aquarius rising friend, and they said that they're they're co-parenting. They're in a co-parenting situation, and they said that the other parent keeps telling them, you spend too much time with your career and not enough time with your children. And that's kind of like a back and forth that they're having about, 4th house stuff, being there with the kids, versus 10th house stuff, working hard on their career. And also what they're trying to decide is they want to move and relocate for the sake of their career, to thrive a little bit more. And that's a tough decision because they have small children. So it's like, do I take the kids away from family in order for me to have greater career opportunities, elsewhere? So there's something to do with those subjects that could be affecting Aquarius people. You know what? A good example also is Lada. Lada, she recently announced to everyone, I'm sure most of you already know, that at least for a while, she's not going to be doing regular weekly or monthly horoscopes. That's 10th house stuff. And she said it's like personal life stuff that, for personal life reasons, that's why she's going to stop doing them. And for business reasons too, because she's got some other stuff popping that she's working on that I can't wait to see, next year. I think she said she's going to be releasing some new stuff. But the career stuff was affecting the personal life stuff. So she had to make a decision there, like to meet in the middle somehow. Still doing some things, but just adjusting some stuff, to make that work and personal life axis balance out a lot better. So that's what it is for Aquarius people. And last is Pisces. Oh my gosh, this Venus and Uranus energy, it has me so like antsy, anxious feeling, not able to sit still. So sorry about that, guys. And this Venus and Uranus conjunction right now is sitting right on my Mars, and Mars is like your physical movement. So I'm like really wiggly. So I'm sorry about that. But anyway, Pisces people, if you're a Pisces sun, Pisces rising, or Pisces moon, the full moon in Scorpio is on your 9th and 3rd house axis. So what does that mean for you? This is, it could be now, usually the first thing that we always say as astrologers with 9th house is travel, right? So yeah, for some Pisces people, there could be a decision to travel. Like, should I go here or should I go there? Should I go a long distance or a short distance? That's some basic stuff, right? And education is also the 9th house and 3rd house axis. So it's like, should I go to a big university or community college or take a few courses online or something? Which way should I go with new skills that I want to learn and acquire? 9th house energy is more big time when it comes to learning because it's before the 10th. The 10th house is your career and your title, right? But before you get there, what do you have to do in order to learn the things that give you the expertise to earn that title? So that's 9th house stuff. So it's like, really wanting to learn something major or having some major training. So maybe there's a decision based on that you're finalizing, Pisces people. 9th house can be like opinions and perspectives on things. Like, do you see things in a big, broad, like big picture point of view, or do you see things on like a smaller point of view? There could be something that comes up with that. So for you guys, let's see, for example, like the 3rd house energy where the sun and Mercury and all that stuff is at is like day-to-day stuff that's in front of you. Day-to-day stuff, little bits and pieces of communication you have with some of the same people all the time, Um, and it stays right there. That's your own little bubble. That's the lower mind, which is like that's your little bubble that you're in a lot. The mind that you're in a lot. But what's outside of that? What's like a bigger point of view that you can see? That's the 9th house. The 9th house is also like your sense of optimism and faith in things like that are further out there, but you still need to see them as possible and attainable. Um, 3rd house energy may not always see that. It's like, whatever, same things all the time, whatever. Or same things all the time that are interchangeable, but still the same things. 9th house is like, whoa, what else is out there for me? What opportunities are out there for me? Like, and how do I see them as really being things that I can go after and grab and they can really become mine for real? So it is about having like a different perspective, a different mindset in life. Yeah, and it could be opening your mind. Like 3rd house is like, oh, I can't really retain that much information. I'm just going to kind of skim through something and only take a little bits and pieces that I feel like taking out of it. 9th house is like, no, I'm really serious. I'm all in with being knowledgeable on this certain thing. And I'm going to read every word, even if it's a long book, it doesn't matter, So, and seeing other people's perspectives too. The 3rd house, like I said, it's your bubble, it's your circle, it's your neighborhood, around the way. Hey, Bill, hey, Bob, same neighbors every day, right? You say hi to them. 9th house is people that are foreign from you. So like, it doesn't have to mean like they're from another country necessarily, but they're different than you are. So it's like getting to know different people and being open to that you know? So, but yeah, just basically a full moon in your ninth, Pisces. Are you making a big decision about a trip, a relocation, or perhaps your education? A lot of you guys are graduating right now from some sort of schooling. So it's like, should I go to this school that's close by or this one that's far away? Which one has the better opportunities for me? Um, does the distance matter? There's something like that that's coming up for you guys. But yeah, it could be some mental stuff too, some beliefs. Maybe it's like, oh my gosh, like a realization about something you've believed for a long time and so strongly opinionated about. And then something happens that changes your perspective. And it's like, whoa, opens your mind a little bit more to something outside of that belief or belief system that you were so strongly holding on to. Now it's like, whoa, I see a different perspective. So that's what it is for Pisces people. So that's it for the horoscope stuff, you guys. I know I've been on here for a long time, but I missed you guys last week. So I had to kind of make up for it and spend a lot more time with you guys. Now, if you don't care about YouTubers or looking at a public figure's chart as an example of astrology, and you're saying peace out, okay, well then peace out. And I'll see you guys next time. But if you do care about seeing examples or what's going on in the news or whatever, then stick around because, okay, so what's in the title, and as I mentioned to you guys in the beginning, I'm going to take a look at the chart of Miss Tati Westbrook. So once again, if you were not here in the beginning, you don't know who she is. She is a YouTuber, a beauty YouTuber. She does makeup reviews and tutorials and stuff. She talks about makeup and beauty a lot. And so she's in that world, right? And there's a lot of big name other beauty YouTubers that she has been associated with, but she's very selective, it seems, with who she associates with and attaches herself to. And she got into a little bit of controversy with one of them, who is James Charles, another big name beauty YouTuber. He does a lot of artistry with makeup, not just like applying eyeshadow, but he paints on his face. Like he does amazing work, actually, in my opinion. But he's gotten into some controversy, and their friendship, they had a friendship that fell out recently, right? So as a result of that, she made a video pretty much calling him out on a lot of different personal things and business things, and it made national news headlines, you guys. I'm like surprised about that. So now Tati she made a video today actually kind of trying to retract a little bit, like she's like, I said what I said, but I just kind of wish there wasn't so much backlash towards James Charles and hate towards him as a result of the truth that I put out there. So yeah, let's look at Tati's chart really quick. Let's see, why is she going through some crazy stuff right now, and what could be maybe the lessons. Let's see if we could see that in her chart through astrology. So I don't have Tati's birth time. I have not really studied her enough, honestly, to get a feel for her ascendant, but something about her seems very Cancerian to me. Something seems very Cancer because of how she was able to. Okay, so this is Tati's chart. This is just a whole sign, solar chart with the sun sign being the first house and so on. Something seems very Cancer to me about her. Always has. Like the tone of her voice sounds very Cancerian. Um I don't know, there's something Cancer about her. I don't know if maybe she has planets in her fourth house, or maybe she could be a Cancer rising perhaps. But if we had her birth time, of course we would know. But yeah, just being very sensitive like that. Yeah, she's a Scorpio moon. The moon deals with your emotional side, and Scorpio moons are very sensitive, but Scorpio moons don't always so openly display their emotions and go and cry on camera. Usually that moon sign does not. It's not its usual nature. Cancer, however, will just boo-hoo wherever to whomever, let the tears just flow, right? But yeah, she seems, something about her she vibrates Cancerian type of energy. Maybe she has a moon in the first house, moon on an angle. I don't know. But anyhow, so what's going on with her now? The first thing I noticed, you guys, was that she's going through her nodal return. Excuse me, her nodal return. Now, this does happen to everybody around age 18 to 19, and also around age like 36, 37-ish, 38-ish. Okay. Now let's see. Her natal north and south nodes are 21 degrees of Cancer and Capricorn. And right now, where are the nodes? Right now they're at 18, but since this has been going on, like her issues with James Charles and all this stuff becoming public, these are still very close to her natal nodes. I think maybe some realizations about things could have came even when the nodes were around that 21st degree. Let's see when that was. When was that? Let's look back a little bit. That was in April of this year. Yeah, that she had her exact nodal return. Now, what happens when you have your nodal return is pretty much in life, like a lot of major changes happen. There's a lot of realizations that come about from very karmic experiences. And I always find that it doesn't matter where your north and south nodes are at. People are either eclipsed in or eclipsed out of your life in some way, and or it could be both, that happens. And it seems like that's what's going on. And I say eclipsed in and out because wherever the north and south nodes are at, that's usually where the signs of the eclipses are at too. So the eclipses happen in these areas of life too. So yeah, someone's either eclipsed in or eclipsed out. There's karmic lessons that go on. So that I think that was her friendship with James, and there's some really big karmic lesson with that. Now, she has a north node in Cancer, so she is on a Cancerian mission here in life. Again, if we knew her birth sign, we would know like what house her north node is in to know like further information on what her life's lesson is, and how her soul should be evolving, what she should be tapping into. But she should be tapping into that Cancerian north node. Now, she doesn't have any planets in the sign of Cancer to support her north node so that she can like naturally know how to step into that Cancer energy. So maybe she stepped into it a little too much when it came to nurturing James Charles, because he called her mom. She said that he was not just a friend, like she felt like a mentor towards him. He was like family, almost like a child to her. That was their relationship. I've heard people say, what is a 37-year-old woman doing with a 19-year-old hanging out with him? I don't think it was so much that they're like buddies. Like she even showed, I think she showed text messages, or I don't know. He called her mom. Okay. That was their relationship. She was maternal towards him. So, a lot of times when you have a north node in a sign and you don't have any other planets in that sign, you have to learn some hard lessons in order to learn how to fully evolve into this energy or step into it. So for her, maybe it is about like taking someone under her wing and nurturing them like a mother figure. Maybe she went a little too far with that, did it a little too much, and it resulted in some like, emotional distress, heartbreak. Um, so that was like a lesson with her nodal return. Another thing I noticed is, yeah, the south node, Saturn and Pluto, they're all on her south node, which is some lessons of her past, as a soul. There's hard lessons being learned. Saturn can bring those rough, hard lessons. So can Pluto. Pluto's energy can act a little bullyish sometimes, to be honest. And not only that, but she has her Venus here. Venus is 23 degrees of Capricorn. And right now we have Saturn, Pluto, and the South Node hovering around this too. So Venus may rule something in her chart that is also bringing out some sort of karmic lesson with her friendships with people and who she trusts and stuff like that, and how giving she is. Another thing with giving is Neptune is the planet of like self-sacrifice and, just not always seeing the boundary between yourself and others to where you give a little too much of yourself sometimes. So Neptune rules that. And, Jupiter has been transiting over her Neptune and now it's retrograde. So maybe that could have expanded upon her Neptune, expanded upon some sort of like lesson she's supposed to learn about putting up boundaries. Jupiter, yeah, it's a happy planet. It brings good things and blessings and all that good stuff. But Jupiter is expansion. It's expanding upon something. And the expansion, the result of it can sometimes be maybe not so great, you know? So, and Jupiter can be about learning. So she's learning things about Neptune, which is dissolvement of boundaries, and Saturn is putting up boundaries. Both these planets are retrograde. Retrogrades can definitely bring like karmic lessons too. So I feel like that's what's going on in her chart to bring all this about. And yeah, there's a full moon in Scorpio, and even in the days or maybe even the weeks building up to the full moon, um, you can see the result of it. You can see what it's leading up to. And then it's like there's things leading up, and then the day of the full moon, and then the days and weeks after is when you can see like, okay, things came to a head, and then it's like, okay, now things start to dissipate or become more clear as far as what was the lesson or whatever. So I feel like this full moon is definitely bringing some things to light. The full moon is, as I mentioned earlier, it's making a good aspect to Pluto, the ruler of the full moon. So and Mercury also. So yeah, there's still going to be some more stuff that comes to the surface, I believe, in this situation. I don't think it's that much more like the drama and the tea, quote unquote, because it'll be like beating a dead horse at this point. Because come on, like their situation has been broadcasted over so many different mediums. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, the full moon, she's a Scorpio moon. That's her emotions and nurturing, and it's the ruler of her north node, in Cancer. So yeah, this is some very emotional stuff for her indeed. Um and maybe she's receiving a lesson about Scorpio things like getting revenge, coming back with like extreme details about people, digging things out and exposing secrets. There's something to do with that with the Scorpio full moon on her Scorpio moon. Now she's kind of regretting it like, wow, I really put all this out there, and maybe there's some of it I should have kept secret or private or dealt with privately. So this full moon is definitely doing some things. And the full moon is also doing some things for James Charles. Excuse me, I'm starting to lose my voice. So I'm not going to get too deep into his chart, but look at this. He has Lilith at 28 degrees of Scorpio. He has Mercury 28 degrees of Taurus. Where's the full moon? 27 degrees of Taurus and 27 degrees of Scorpio. So there is something to do with like the darker side of Lilith, which can deal with like allegations of rape and abuse and dark things, especially being in Scorpio, manipulation, sexual stuff that's a little like dark. Lilith can deal with stuff like that. And then Mercury is information. It's friends too sometimes, communication. So the full moon is still going to illuminate some things. I think it's already been, like I said, like building up to that. This is James Charles's chart, by the way. I put Sister James Charles. So yeah, the full moon is definitely affecting him directly as well with all of this stuff. So anyhow, you guys, that's what I see. That's the transits that are bringing out specific things for these people. Once again, if we knew their birth times, it would add a whole other layer of information and clarity in like why and who and what for. So but that's what I see though. Yeah, a lot of karmic stuff with the nodes, Saturn. Her nodal return is very telling in this situation too. So that is that. That's all I have to say about that in my Forrest Gump voice. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you to anyone who puts up timestamps, because I know this was a super long video. Full moon in Scorpio in full effect. So I have a lot of emotions and feelings and thoughts and things to express. So Thank you guys. And I hope you have a great weekend and a great week ahead. And just remember, hey, whatever comes up, even if it's intense or unexpected, if it's along with this full moon, it's divine timing at work, and you just gotta roll with it, the best way that you can. So take care of yourselves, you guys, and I'll see you next time I'm on. And yeah, that's it. Take care. Peace.